main responsibility of a district magistrate is to bring what government desires for the welfare of the society and for the welfare of the common people. Even 2 years, 3 years is not enough to make you 100% confident, okay, now anything, whatever UPSC will ask, I'll be able to answer. I always say what I can deliver, I don't talk which I can't do.
I am your host Gaurav Garg and we welcome all our viewers to our show Amazing Mentor. Today with us is Mr. Rajkumar Yadav. He is an IAS officer of 2013 batch Uttar Pradesh cadre. He is currently DM and Collector Baghpat District, Uttar Pradesh. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Rajkumar Yadav to our show Amazing Mentor. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Gaurav.
My pleasure, sir. So tell us about your childhood and memories which you still enjoy from your childhood.
See, childhood memories are, such a thing which cannot be described in words. There are so many memories which flash back in your mind whenever you think of your childhood. But yeah, there are certain things which keep reminding you of your place from where you belong, where your roots are belonging. Just like the time which I spent in my village is one of the most memorable and most cherishable thing in my mind whenever I think of my childhood.
What was your dream profession as a child and were it constant or keep changing by seeing different inspirational people around you?
I think I have always thought about going into armed forces and nothing else till I exhausted all my avenues to enter into it. And because of that only I went into the Sainik school just to pursue that dream. And my family, especially my father, helped me through that he was very much aware that I always, from a very early age, I wanted to be. There was a Air Force base near our house. During that time, a lot of planes used to fly from that base, and I always thought that who will be the person who will be, at that young age you don't know whether it is flying or driving, but I always used to ask who will be driving these planes so fast. So I think that was the turning point where I decided that I will be joining armed forces one day. And I always said that to my parents that I'll be doing this job only. And later on I think my father realized that I am too much into it, and then he find out various avenues and he thought that going into the Sainik school will be the perfect way to achieve it. So he made me get into it.
Tell us about your educational background, schooling and higher education.
I did my schooling from, as I told you, from Uttar Pradesh Sainik School, Lucknow till 12th, and then after that I was pursuing veterinary science as a graduation subject from Madras Veterinary College, Chennai, and from there only I started to come towards this side of profession. I did my graduation from Chennai.
Any school or college memory that you still remember and which was notorious moment of your life?
Every school kid or college student have those, whether you call it notorious or not, but yeah, something which they are very excited or very intrigued about it, but not so very proud of doing it, I guess. We in school used to do a lot of things like that because ours was a boarding school, and all 50 students, all 50 male students used to live together, and they were like friends, brothers, family, everything. If you stay with them for 24 hours, a lot of things which comes into your mind and happen that way. I think one of the most memorable or most intriguing thing which I'll say about my school life is we used to have a lot of extra drill which we very commonly used to call ED, and that ED was not very official kind of thing. It was always controlled and given to you by your seniors. So like suppose you are studying in class 9th and then somebody from class 12th or class 11th will call you and he'll ask you to do some extra drill, like rolling on the ground or do extra push-ups. I think that is one thing which always comes into my mind whenever I think of my school. And because later on, if you look into the past and you realize that those were the things which really made you very strong mentally and physically. So I think that is one thing which is there always in my mind.
So what about your hobbies and interests?
There are many hobbies and interests I can say, but previously I used to collect a lot of coins. Numismatics was one of my things, but later on I couldn't sustain that kind of thing, that kind of time. But I still have a good collection with me. Other interests, I would say I'm mostly an outdoor guy, and I like to spend my time in outdoors if I get some, playing some field sports and doing something which is very physically strengthened or physically oriented. Those kind of things I like to do. Other than that, nowadays I'm into watching a lot of TV series and all those things. Very some amazing stuff come on certain channels and all those things. So I'm into that also. But yeah, I guess if you ask me, my most common thing will be an interest will be outdoor activities.
So, what inspired you to prepare for civil service examination?
What inspired me was a kind of chain reaction, which I'll say. There were a lot of circumstances which helped me, if not inspired me to, get into this. One such thing was, as I was telling you, that the childhood dream of joining the armed forces, and later on when I grow up and you get a good conscience and you try to understand the value of your life, then you realize that why that thing was happening to me and why I was so keen to join the armed forces. Maybe because I've seen something which I was fascinated to. But later on I realized that it is a desire which is there in my mind and heart, that I want to do something for my nation and want to really help the society. Initially I was thinking that the joining armed forces will be the only thing, because it has been taught, it has been very much inculcated in your mind and brain that only by serving the motherland you can serve the nation. Later on, I realized when I could not get into those avenues, I realized that there is the most perfect way with which I want to work is civil services. If not armed forces, I will really like to go into civil services. There were other things also which was happening in my college, because from our college, there were a lot of people who were going to the civil services, especially Indian Forest Services. A lot of people were preparing for civil services, and I think that helped me to get a direction, because I was already thinking about it, and then I got a group support.
What was the reaction of your parents when they came to know, okay, now you have become an officer?
They were very happy like any other parent, but let me tell you, I didn't tell my parents till I have to get their sign on my detailed application form, which was after clearing prelims. So when I have to get those signs from my father and some other people, only then they came to know, because before that I never told them that I'm preparing and I'll be into that, because just before doing that I came back from US and they were very much surprised that why I'm doing all this thing. And I was well settled and having a good career progression kind of thing in my mind. They were also happy because they have seen me very disappointed when I was not getting into the armed forces, and after much persuasion I went for some other career option, and then having progress in that career and then suddenly stopping everything and coming back and starting for something else was really something which they were not able to articulate or comprehend. So I thought, okay, let me not diverse this thing in front of them. Only when I'll be able to get that, then I will tell them. So during Mains, I told them, and then by that time I was studying in a post-graduation program in Indian Veterinary Research Institute in Nijatnagar, Bareilly. So they were very happy, and because my father always, I have always felt that he somewhere, deep inside, he always wanted me to pursue that kind of career and that kind of line, because the way he used to talk about, the DMs in our district or the bureaucracy which was working in our small town. I think he was very much happy when I told him that I'm going to write mains and I've cleared prelims. That kind of satisfaction, the kind of the expression which you get when you get something without saying it, that kind of thing was there on my father's face, and I felt very good. And I thought that okay, if I'll be able to do this, he'll be really, really happy.
So where did you start your career journey from?
My first posting was as a trainee person in Lucknow district in 2014, and before that we joined Labasna, the training academy of Indian Administrative Services, and then later on I became SD in Lucknow itself. I think that was the start of my journey in this profession.
So how was your early days as an officer?
For me, it was very challenging kind of stuff, because I was having no experience of living that kind of public life, if you say, because I just came out of the college. I got into something and then I cleared it, so it was, for me, it was like from college to the job. So I was having no external experience that okay, how does a person behave when he is in a job, or so for me it was like a college boy suddenly into an office. So it was very difficult in initial days to understand there's the kind of decorum which is expected out of you when you are occupying any chair kind of thing, and then you have to lose all your virtues and all the personality trait which you developed as a college student, I guess. So initially it was very difficult in adjusting that okay, you have to listen more and you have to say less. You have to understand what other person is trying to say rather than you trying to impose your own thoughts and ideas. In college it's just reverse that okay, somebody asks you something and you are free to express your opinion kind of thing. So I think in initial days it was very much learning, and I think my trainee boss helped me a lot in understand those things, that he realized that I need some real help in adapting those kind of circumstances. So I would say that those were one of the most difficult things which I was going through when I was joined as trainee, joined magistrate in Lucknow.
So what all type of departments have you handled in your course of career?
I have been sub-divisional magistrate in Lucknow. I have headed the chief development officer portfolio, which look after all the development work which happens in a district. I have been special secretary in the government of Uttar Pradesh. I have also handled mission director Ayush, which was during the first wave of Corona crisis. And then currently I am in district Bagpat as DM and collector. So I think these are 5 different kind of portfolios which I have handled as of now.
So what's that one thing you love about your profession the most?
The one thing which I love the most will be the kind of satisfaction which you get when you are able to help somebody, because the kind of happiness which comes on somebody's face when your one phone call, when your one signature, when your one direction can help him or her issue resolved, which he or she has been struggling for a very long time. And I think that is the beauty of this profession, that you are able to help out so many number of people by just giving them what is actually due to them. That is their right, and we are able to give it to them. That is so satisfying that it cannot be expressed in words. And believe me, when you sleep at the night and you think of your day, even if you've done one such deed, you feel happy that okay, God has been kind to you, that you have got some great opportunity to work that way. I think that is the most satisfying thing about this profession.
What has been the most fulfilling and significant aspect of your role? Any particular incident you would like to share?
There are many things which happen that way, but there are certain things which keep striking your mind. I can recall very fondly that I was posted as SDM Mohanlalganj in Lucknow district. There used to be a girls' college, and one fine day we were sitting in a Tehsil Livas, and few very young girls came, and then they said that okay, there are few people who always disturb us while we are going to the college, and I was inquiring that why this thing happened. So they said that some illegal shops has come on the way to the school, around the boundary of the school, like those pan masala and gupta shops which usually come up, and people just come into the grab of that okay, they are buying something or they are smoking there, and they pass their time there and just wait for the time when these students come out of the college or when they are entering into the college. So it really made me feel very bad that okay, how something like this can happen when right into the city. And I think that was one moment when I assembled all my staff, and at the right there we went that okay, we'll go right now, and then we remove all those encroachment. We made some people really sorry about that okay, they should not do those kind of things. And the kind of satisfaction which comes, and the kind of pleasure you can see in the eyes of those students that okay, they have been trying for something for a very long time, and then one fine day it can be done. So I think that was one thing which made me feel very happy about that day, and it keeps coming into my mind again and again that okay, if you want, you can really help in sorting out issues which are there for a very long time and which are genuine issues which need clearing up.
So who is your mentor as an officer?
My trainee collector, Mr. Ashika, 2004 batch, he was the then district magistrate of Lucknow. I will always keep him as my mentor because he helped me a lot actually understanding how things work in an administration. And later on, many people came in my life who really helped me navigate the right path to do the good work. But being my first boss, I think he'll always be my mentor, and he still helps me out when there are issues which need discussion or which need guidance. So I think Mr. Ashika will be my mentor.
So what are your roles and responsibility as DM Collector, Bagpat District, Uttar Pradesh?
See, the main responsibility of a district magistrate is, you cannot call it in one sentence, but it's an ideology which is his responsibility. And that ideology is to bring what government desires for the welfare of the society and for the welfare of the common people. That desire, that those plans need to go to the people as they has been designed. I think that is the main responsibility of a district magistrate, and he does that by getting hold of many departments, by making sure that they do what they have to do. I think that is the main job of a district magistrate, that things happen the way they are supposed to happen and no hanky-panky in between.
What were your roles and responsibility as MD Ayush Mission UP, Special Secretary Ayush?
When I was in Ayush, our main job was to transform the entire Ayush sector, because if you look at the Ayush sector at that time, it was more of a traditional medicine need basis kind of thing, because you will not go to an Ayurvedic practitioner until and unless you had an experience with him, until and unless somebody will recommend to you okay, that this is the person who can really cure you, and most importantly, until and unless you have exhausted all your existing avenues. It's not like that okay, that you are having some problem in your chest and then you'll ask some friend, okay, who is the expert in pulmonary medicine and tell me that. So Ayush sector doesn't work that way. So our main aim was when I was in Ayush, I was heading Ayush mission in Uttar Pradesh, that people should come to Ayush as their first choice. That was our main aim, and we were trying to increase the infrastructure of the system because this Ayush sector has been there for a very long time. We have a huge manpower working in it. But on a contribution basis, if we can see and analyze, the contribution was not very much. At that time, Corona wave struck us, and we really thought that Ayush practitioners can be a really helping hand in controlling that. And then we trained a lot of people, a lot of Ayush practitioners, in the second line of management. That okay, main line of allopathy practitioners are busy in taking care of people in the active hospitals. Our people should go into the quarantine centers. Our people should go into the isolation centers where they can help them, because they are having the kind of medical knowledge which is far better and experienced if you put a layman into those centers. So that model helped us a lot, and we were able to train at least more than 20,000 people. And we're also very happy about it because it was the first time when they have got that kind of recognition where they were coming into the active duties rather than just sitting into their dispensaries and all those things. So I think these two things was something which we were focusing when I was there in Ayush.
So what was the most funny and strange question asked during UPSC interview?
During UPSC interview, I will not say that there is anything funny or strange about it, because every question has a significance there, and they have something at the backdrop of it, that whatever you're going to answer, you're going to get judged about that. But from my perspective, I think there was one incident when we were talking about diseases which happened as a source of infection through oral route, and then suddenly a samosa plate came in front of everybody, and then it just struck me that okay, a lot of salmonellosis cases in rural areas and other places come because we eat unhygienic food or food without washing our hands, those kind of things. So he suddenly said that okay, then this samosa could also be a source of infection, because in something which happens by eating this, it could be a oral route. So that made laugh everybody, and if I recall at my interview, I think this is one of the it was such a light moment that it made the entire atmosphere of my interview very, very cheerful. Suddenly, from a point of questioning or from a mode of questioning, I went to mode of discussion kind of thing. That okay, so a lot of question came afterwards that okay, why this happens and why do you think that what need to be done? What are the regulations which need to come up to control these kind of things? Because this is very unorganized sector. Okay, nobody, however stringent rule you have, you cannot enforce those kind of rules to a halwai that okay, how we should make a samosa, those kind of things. So very interesting interaction came after that. I think that was one of the most not strange and funny actually, but very lightful moment came in my interview.
So what advice would you like to give to new officers?
I think we are not that old to give those kind of advices, but yeah, if you'll ask me, I'll say that when you are training or when you are getting trained in some district in your field training, I think that is the time when we should dive all in. What happens that most of us, including me, we do not give that the kind of attention which it deserves, because that is the time when you can ask a lot of things. You can get a lot of practical knowledge that how things happen. Now, when you become a boss at something, you feel very hesitant and very discouraged in asking something which is very, very common, that kind of thing. But when you are in training, you can go to any office, you can talk to any clerk, you can talk to any assistant, find out that how does he deal a file, what are the things which he does to make that file, what are the rules and regulations which are into the gray area, which happens something which is very old and archaic, and how do they comprehend that. So you will get to understand the mindset of that, how, because if you see a government office, if you can see this bureaucratic structure, you will say that there are many levels which work on an issue. There is somebody who is preparing a file, there is somebody who is analyzing the issue at that level, then there is somebody as a middle level he'll be performing some enhancement into that note or that kind of file, and then finally it comes to you for your application of your mind and application of the rules. But so you need to understand that how the people who are working with you at a lower level, how do they perceive things, and if you can understand that during your training times, I am very much sure that it helps you when you are heading an office or when you are officiating in any office or when you are occupying any chair. That helps you a lot in understanding the issue and comprehending that issue in a very comprehensive manner, which will bring out the better result or which will enable you to take a better decision. So I think to all the officers who are just joining, I would really like to suggest that they should give more and more time to their training.
So what are do's and don'ts you will suggest while preparing for civil service examination?
I personally would not like to impose those kind of do's and don'ts. But yeah, there are certain things which one person, which an aspirant has to take into account. One such thing is that you have to follow a schedule. You have to really plan your things, that because the syllabus is so vast that even 2 years, 3 years is not enough to make you 100% confident. Okay, now anything, whatever UPSC will ask, I'll be able to answer. This thing is not going to happen. So you have to really design your study, you can say timetable or the syllabus which you are going to cover in a way that you can get a hold of it. Because if you keep things open-ended, it is not going to close at any point of time. So that is one thing which everybody should do. Don'ts, I would say that we sometimes get into that kind of practice where we think that okay, by eliminating yourself from the outside world is going to help you concentrate more. I'm not that kind of person who will suggest it, because I personally feel that if you deviate from your basic character and your basic personality, it gives a lot of stress on your mind and your heart and your body. So see, if you're a very talkative person, you cannot, you can be quiet for a day, for a two days, for a week, for a month, but you cannot stay quiet for a whole year if you are a talkative person by nature. So that kind of personality which you are having, you have to understand and you have to be truthful with yourself that okay, this is me and I am like this. I can improve it, I can control it, but over 1 year or 2 years you cannot entirely change it. So one has to take care this factor into their preparation regime, because I think that gives you a lot of stress. I personally seen a lot of people, I've seen myself, but so for me, I was studying and preparing in a college atmosphere. I was having libraries for me, those kind of things. So whenever I used to feel that, I will go to the canteen, sit there, drink tea, coffee or whatever, talk to my friends. So that helps, because seclusion is not something which I would advise. So that is one thing which I like aspirants not to do.
So now, sir, we will start our rapid round.
Okay.
Your favorite actor and actress?
I think I like Denzel Washington a lot. The kind of movies he's doing, and I'm very fond of him.
Your favorite color?
Yellow.
The brand you love the most?
I'm not into brands as such, but yeah, they should fit well and they should complement your personality. That is the key. It could be any brand.
Your favorite destination?
Paris.
Your favorite car?
I think I like Range Rover the most.
Your favorite book?
There are a lot of books which are favorite if you ask in that category, but I can read The Fountainhead again and again. I can read Crime and Punishment again and again. I can read The Art of War again and again. So I think these three will be my favorite books.
Things in your wish list?
I really wish to, go for trekking more often and want to live some part of my life in mountains. That is something which I really like, and if my career and my job gives me that opportunity, I would really like to take that.
Your dream house?
Dream house, I have not thought of that as of now, but I would really love to have a house which can accommodate me, my family and my parents and my in-laws, so that all of us can live together and can cherish that house as a home.
Second choice of career?
It would have been armed forces, nothing else.
At last, one line that defines you?
One line that defines me, I think I am very true to myself. I am a very reliable kind of person. A lot of people trust me because I always say what I can deliver. I don't talk which I can't do. These three things can really define me.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. It was great pleasure talking to you and listening to the advices which you have shared on our show. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. It was nice talking to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching Amazing Mentor, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button to get regular updates. Thank you very much.